Welcome to a noble society of young urban entrepreneurs sharing knowledge and building wealth. Welcome to the League of Hustlers.
The hustle is in your bones. It runs through your veins. It's that ambition to do more, become more. You can feel it. You know you have what it takes. You know you can build a life you've been dreaming of. It's time you live up to your potential. Welcome to the League of Hustlers.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the League of Hustlers podcast. I'm HC.
I'm CD Barnes.
And this is the League of Hustlers. And today we have a very, very special guest. This brother, man, has been providing so much valuable content and, writing books and dropping jewels left and right all over Instagram, man, and, just doing this thing in general. And with no further ado, I just want to introduce our brother, George Pitts. George Pitts, the money motivator, right? Yeah, man. And, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you got going on. I know you got the Monetize Everything podcast. You got the Joseph Economy book. You have several courses. We were just talking, you're in real estate. You have your hands in a bunch of stuff. So just tell us about yourself. Let the league know.
Yeah. So first of all, man, thank you guys so much, man, for inviting me on the league, man. I appreciate you guys so much for that. Love your content, man. Love what you guys are doing. And I appreciate you guys for having me on. A little bit about me, man. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm a certified business coach and personal financial strategist. I help people build wealth. That's my biggest thing is I show people how to monetize everything and leverage that to build wealth. For me, it started, about a little over 10 years ago when I lost my job right before Christmas. We're actually coming up on that anniversary date of December 15th, where I went in and asked my director for some training because I had just started a job with them and they didn't really give me the training. I was kind of struggling in the job, and they told me they were going to give me all the training I needed. And the next day they walked me out and said they needed somebody that can hit the ground running, and they just don't have time to provide any training.
What?
So, man, we were already living paycheck to paycheck. I was newlywed. And so, for me, it was just like, it was a wake-up call because even though you can be living paycheck to paycheck and still thinking you're doing it. We had a nice little apartment, we had 2 cars, and, we even though we were paycheck to paycheck, we lived better than most people, but once you take that income out of the equation, everything changes, So I had to give my car back and so many other things that took place around that time. And I just remember thinking, I can't never let this happen again where one person can make a decision that can ruin my whole financial life, because it could have. And it was just by the grace of God, we went through unscathed outside of having to give my car back and things like that. Wow. was able to get to move forward. So, what I did was I just became very infatuated with making more money outside of just one place. So I knew I needed a job, obviously, to pay my bills and things like that.
Right.
But I also needed to make sure that I had other income coming in in case that job was going to ever be taken away from me. And so, I got into learning about just the online space. One of the first things I did online was I got a work from home job during the time I was laid off or was let go. And I worked that work from home job up until I found a full-time one, but I kept it for 2.5 years. So I'd work my full-time job and then I'd do my part-time working home job in the evenings. Then I learned about internet marketing, and that's what I got into first. And that was learning how to build websites and doing SEO and pay-per-click campaigns for companies. And I just continued to learn and evolve in that space. And before I knew it, man, I started to build this empire, and the rest is history.
Right, and all the way to writing a book, providing coaching services, like it's to and see, we didn't know you before that, and so, but to see you now and the stuff that you do, and basically this empire that you built at this point, it seems like you've been doing this forever, and it seems like it comes natural to you, and I'd say it fits you, So, how did you go from there to transitioning into the Mr. George Pitts, the money motivator himself? Today, how'd you grow into that?
Well, it started with me, when I started getting into these different ways to make money. My brother James started saying, he just always called me G Money, because I was the guy that people knew, if you need to learn how to get money, you need to go holler at George. I've always been like that.
Okay.
And once I started to grow online, as far as how it started, was there's an app called Periscope, which is owned by Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a live streaming app. And so when I got into internet marketing, I was making all this money doing all this. And I was like, man, I need to start figuring out what to do with this money, because I'm just keeping it in this savings account. And I feel myself always going, taking and buying stuff I want and different things. So that's when I learned how to get into stocks. So I started trading stocks. I lost $1,400 in one day, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, I'm just going to go get in the stock market. And so instead of me quitting, I was like, no, I'm going to go learn this. So I learned about stocks and everything like that, got myself cleaned up, got back in and started doing really well. And then I was making money from stocks, and from that, then I got into eBay, which was e-commerce. And it was totally by accident. I was like, man, I got all these phones in my dresser drawer, because I switched from having Androids to I finally got an iPhone. I was like, I don't like this iPhone. I'm gonna get rid of these other phones. And I had like 6 phones just sitting in my dresser. It's like, man, you need to go put it on eBay. I was like, does anybody even shop on there anymore? He's like, you'd be surprised. Man, I put that phone on there. 15 minutes later, it was sold. Then I put my other one on there. It was sold. And I was like, yo, what is this that we just stumbled on? Because everybody was Amazon, all that other stuff. But once I started doing that, then I learned about that space, got on, and then I got on Periscope and just started kind of showing my daily day as far as fulfilling eBay orders, getting orders of shipments of phones in, trading stocks. And then people were like, yo, do you teach that stuff? Do you provide coaching? At that time, I didn't know what any of that was. I was like, no, I don't, I'm sorry. And they were like, well, how much would you charge to teach me? People started asking me that. And so I was at a point in my life, and I'm so glad I was at this point, where I don't want to just take people's money because they offer it to me, and I'm not sure why or how to do it the right way. So I reached out. I was following this guy named Kelly James on Periscope, and he was a sales coach. He came on every day and was just giving good information. And so I reached out to him and said, I know you teach people how to do better in sales, but I was wondering if you would teach me how to do what you do, how to be a coach. He's like, I've never had anybody ask me that. Give me a couple days to think about it. I was like, okay, no problem. And then he hit me back. He's like, yeah, this is, I'm willing to do it. This is how much it would cost. And that was the first time I sent someone that amount of money through PayPal that I did not know to teach me something. And that was the best investment I ever made in my life. We worked together for 6 weeks, and, he taught me how to be a coach, set up my systems, do courses, do webinars, all that different things. And I started doing it. But then how I evolved, I was still G Money at that time. I'm just showing people how to get money in different ways. But then I started to evolve when people started inviting me to their conferences to speak, and I'm getting around these people that, are like you guys, dress very well and really have a professional look. And that's when I started to go from the G Money to the Mr. George Pitts. That's when the glow up happened. And I just started really looking at my business, not like, oh, this is just some extra money. No, this can be an enterprise. This can be an empire, but I've got to approach it like that. When I took that approach, that's when everything changed. I was scared to get on Instagram because I was intimidated. I'm over here on Periscope. I'm killing it. I'm a big dog. People are like, you need to come over here on Instagram. Your stuff's so good. You'll kill it over here. Like, man, but you got this person over there, that person, and it was just one of those things. But then I was like, you're a brand, you're an empire, you're a big dog over here, go be a big dog over there too. And I started my page over there about 1.5 years ago, and man, I went from like 3,000 followers to I think I'm at 35 or 36,000 now. And it just started really approaching things a lot different. Instead of just kind of doing what everybody wanted me to do, as far as, hey, can you teach us this, or can you do something on this or that? I started methodically planning that stuff. Then I started building a team, and we would schedule and we would think, okay, this is what we're going to cover this month. This is what we're going to go over this month. And we started running it like a Fortune 500 company or a publicly traded company. And I just took that knowledge from what I do whenever I'm looking at companies to invest into in the stock market. And I just translated that into my company, making it to where if my company was on a publicly traded, NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange or something, people would want to invest into my company because of the way I run it. And that's kind of how I got into becoming Mr. George Pitts.
So I saw you do a post on Instagram, actually, and it was about imposter syndrome. And you just kind of like described something like how you were maybe a little intimidated, in the beginning, maybe translating what your knowledge into Instagram, things like that. So for people who are just starting out, who have an idea, who may be, suffering from that imposter syndrome, or maybe don't have that confidence to where they feel like, okay, I can actually write this book, or I can speak on this subject. How do you overcome that? What advice do you have? Is there one thing like, we don't have to, I know that's a big topic, but like, what's like at least one major key to get over imposter syndrome?
Well, the main thing is that you have to kind of do, you have to eliminate the critics you create. With imposter syndrome, we create our own critics before we even have critics. We think no one's going to like the way that I talk. No one's going to like the way that I look. Everyone that listens to me, they're going to hear this before. They're going to say that I'm not that good at it, right? We create critics before we put anything out to even have critics create themselves. So the thing that a person has to do is that you have to go in and eliminate those mental critics. You got to let the market create those people. You can't create the Cisco and Everts in your head. You got to let them do that in the marketplace. And the only way that you're going to do that is by putting something together and putting it out there and let people make an ultimate decision on what they want to do. Imposter syndrome always starts in the mind. It always starts with what we put in our mind to make ourselves believe. So the thing is that if you can make yourself believe that if I can get in front of 100 people that don't know what I know, that I could literally teach them, if they listen to me for 30 minutes, an hour, or 2 weeks, or however long, I can teach them what they don't know. And by the time they finish listening to me, they'll know what I know. You can get that in your head, put content out to go towards those people. Yes, you're going to have people that will follow you or comment that aren't in that space. But the thing is, you'll become a magnet to the people who are. And those are the people you focus on, and you continue to grow that aspect of it. But the only way you're going to do that is by eliminating the critics that you create in your mind and allowing the market to create their own.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So aside from that, though, you know what I mean? Like, I think we found something else you shared in your content about maybe the five secrets to millionaire success. So on the opposite end, you got someone starting off, imposter syndrome. What would be like those 5 key points? Or you may not have to hit all 5, but millionaire success, you know what I mean? Like, what are the keys for that?
So the first thing that you have to do in order to have that success, becoming, a millionaire, is you got to believe that you can and will become one. Most people, they think that $1 million these days is so far-fetched, but it's really not. I mean, if you make 6 figures in corporate, you can make $1 million in 10 years. You know what I'm saying? There's some people that worked all their lives and barely made $1 million. You can make one within, in corporate America in 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, if you make 6 figures in corporate America and you can build an online business making 100 a year, you can make $1 million, you know what I'm saying, in 5 years. So the thing is that first you got to believe that you can become a millionaire and that you will be a millionaire. The second thing is you got to find what is it that's going to be your path to being a millionaire. And the way that you do that is identifying what your purpose is. Your purpose, the Bible says your gifts will make room for you, right? Part of your gifts is your purpose. If you can identify what your purpose is and how you're supposed to help people out there, because we're all supposed to provide something to other people to help people grow, that's going to be your path to that status. Number three, once you get to there, then you just got to be creating and just being in a space to where you're doing what you're naturally able to do. Many of us are imposters from the things that we're comfortable with doing. We have imposter syndrome for things that we can do very well, and we are imposters on things that we just happen to do pretty good that allows us just to survive. There's people working in a call center right now that are imposters because they don't like talking to people. You know what I'm saying? But they're great at reading and writing books, right? There's people that are imposters because they hate selling, but they do pretty well with it. But they would do even better if they did this over here. So the thing is that if you can find a way to switch that and learn that, okay, maybe I'm good at this, but I don't like it. Well, that's because you're being you're living out imposter, right? You're being an imposter right there. You are living out to the people that you're in front of that, oh, I'm good. I'm a good sales guy. I'm a good call center rep, but you don't even like it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to get out of that state. And then number four, you got to be consistent. Consistency is the one thing that people fail to do in their everyday lives that will give them the change that they want in their lives. It's just like, some of us will eat good for a couple of weeks and then you know what I'm saying? Oh, I deserve a cheat day, and then it goes downhill from there. Everybody in January is going to be opening up, gym memberships if COVID gets under control. By February, March, it's going to be back to the regular consensus, but people are locked into a 12-month commitment. So the thing is that if you can be consistent in something that you're starting out to do, that's going to allow you to make consistent income to get to that level. And then number five, you got to be willing to invest. Most millionaires have 7 streams of income, and one of the ways you create streams of income is by investing into those things, whether it's stocks, rental properties, commercial properties, other businesses, whatever it is, you got to be able to invest. And the thing that most people get hung up on, which I believe is like the entry to the millionaire party, is they don't want to invest. They're scared to invest. We have more confidence investing into Michael Kors's products than we do investing into ourselves. Someone can walk into a Michael Kors store and spend $200 like that. But if you show them something that can give them the opportunity to make that $200 on a daily basis, and you're willing to show it to them for $100, people get real nervous about making that investment because, for one, they're like, I don't know if it's going to work. 2, they don't think they can make it work. And 3, they just feel that it's not going to work for them, even though we've seen it with other people work and all that other stuff. So if you can get those things into your mind, you'll be right on your path to get into there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that's critical. Starting with mind state and then going from there. You have to believe it. League of Hustlers, of course. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you subscribe, then hit the notification bell. Leave a comment. Definitely send in your questions. This is where we share knowledge and build wealth, and we're bringing you great people like Mr. George Pitts, who has the keys, ladies and gentlemen. You guys have to do your research, okay? First and foremost, go to MrGeorgePitts.com and just look at all of the resources that this brother provides. And, I know you're revamping your Instagram and retooling and getting ready for 2021, but we're just going through some of the tons of content that you have, bro. And it's been really beneficial to us. And one thing that I definitely wanted to do is just to share, or for you to share some of this content that you've been putting out and to share it with the League of Hustlers. All right. And one of those pieces is the 5 tips to personal finance success. Could you touch on that for the league? And I mean, it's like so much content, man. That's so good. But for now, yeah, just touch on your 5 tips for personal finance success while we're on that topic.
Well, I've got more than 5, but you know,
Okay.
I'm sure there's a few of them on there, but I'll give you guys something. So one of the first things is you got to know where you're at. You know what I'm saying? We go to work, we go to our businesses, we go to the mailbox to get our retirement checks, whatever level you're on, but you got to know where you're at. We know how much money's coming in, but rarely do we know how much money's going out. We just let it go out. We know what's coming in. You can ask somebody how much they make, they can tell you.
Mhm.
When you ask some people how much their expenses are, they don't know. The number one thing is you got to know where you're at from, and from an expense level. So one of the things is I tell people all the time, especially people that I work with, before I'll even work with them on a coaching basis for business, I always say, okay, what is your personal finances like? How much money do you have going in? What's your accounts receivable and what's your accounts payable? And then what is your net income, right? So what do you have left over? What's your cash flow look like? Once you can identify that, it makes it easier for you to plan. Most people don't plan beyond a 2-week period because we're just so used to just operating on a 2-week period. We get paid, we work 2 weeks, we get paid on a Friday or whatever day that's on. We pay our bills, whatever's left over. We try our best to get through the next 2 weeks until it's time to get paid again, right? That's not a way to do that. You need to be able to plan for the future. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to know what you got coming in and what you're going out. The next thing that you need to do is you need to look at your expenses and find out what you can eliminate. We've got a lot of things that we have in our expenses that we could eliminate. There's people that are still paying for the gym membership they got in 2018 and they ain't been back since February of 2018. Right?
They're still planning on it.
but they still got it. You can eliminate that, right? You think of cable. How much TV do you actually watch? I mean, are telling me about all the Netflix shows they got, but they got $150 cable package. Like if you watching more
Some
Netflix,
people got a $200.
Man, I had a client that I was working with, man, that was paying $315 for cable, internet, and home phone service.
Good
They never
Lord.
used their home phone. They had the highest tier internet package that was out there, and they had every channel known to man, even the aliens. You know, they could watch the aliens in Mars. You know, I mean, they just had every channel. And so I said, okay, you need to call and you need to go through and act like you're gonna cancel your service, and they're gonna give you a better deal. They were able to drop their bill from like $315 to $110.
Wow.
And then they kept the same stuff. I said, these companies give people, you know, these retail prices, and you got to understand there's all, you know, you never should pay full price. So, you know, find out what you can eliminate in there. Once you find out what you can eliminate, the number 3 thing you got to do is now you got to create. You got to create more streams of income. Once you got your expenses knocked out, you've eliminated what you need to create some more streams of income, not to go and get those expenses again, but to be able to, now you're at that critical juncture to where once you got that third stream of income or another stream of income at step 3, step 4, now you need to diversify. This is where I start telling people invest into things like dividend stocks or dividend ETFs, because you get a check back from that for every share that you buy. You know,
I get happy every time I get an email saying you have new dividends.
You have new dividends. John D. Rockefeller, one of the richest men to ever live, said, you know, one thing I love doing is counting my dividends.
Wow.
That was one of his famous quotes. And, you know, I do a lot of research and reading on the Rockefellers and John D. Rockefeller. I can tell you all kinds of stuff about them. But, you know, create some other streams of income. Once you do that at 3, number 4, you need to diversify. I'm telling people to put money into dividend stuff, dividend investment, stocks, ETFs, because, you know, like AT&T, for instance, I think right now they have a dividend yield of 7%. So compare that to putting your money in a savings account and you're getting maybe 0.5%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Versus AT&T is trading at less than $30 a share. It's been around for 70 years. They've been increased their dividend 26 years plus now, and they're paying 7% for every share that you purchase, you know, for every dollar that you put in. So, you know, those are the things right there that you can start building wealth. And all dividend income is compound interest for the common man. Credit card companies make compound interest on us. Mortgage companies make compound interest on us. Auto loans make compound interest on us. We don't have a lot of avenues to do that, but dividends is one of them. You invest into a company or an ETF that has it. You sign up for what they call the DRIP program, which is basically where they put the money back. They, instead of giving you the money, they give you more shares. You continue to compound that, and then once you get to a point where you're ready to retire, or maybe you want to retire early, you might have a nice little, you know, pension right here that you created with just dividends. And then number 4, you teach people how to do all those things that you just did. You create content for that. So now that you've learned how to figure out what money's coming in and what's going out, you can create a digital product for that, teaching people how to come up with a budget. Number 2, you eliminate expenses. You can write a book on teaching people how to eliminate expenses, calling the retention department, asking for a cheaper plan, all those different things like that, calling your credit card company, asking them to reduce your interest rate. Number 3, you start investing into dividends and stocks. You can teach people how to pick dividend companies, how to pick stocks, where to buy, what brokers to do, right? That's number 4. And then number 5, you monetize it all. You create the courses, the books, the webinars, the coaching. And before you know it, you got this huge economy running right in your house.
Automated.
on point.
Monetize everything.
Everything.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Tons of information here in this episode. Tons of gems being dropped right now.
Yeah, man.
But I think that it's time for the challenge, right? We don't want to like overburden the listener. It's too much information. So you already know, man, the League of Hustlers, you got to walk away from this show with some homework. You got to walk away with something that you can implement into your life, into your business. And that's what the challenge is all about. Mr. George Pitts, the challenge is on you today, sir. What would you like for the listeners to take away from this episode?
So what I want you guys to do, if you were ever in my house, you will always see a notebook all over the place. And you know, that notebook usually has a lot of notes in it, has a lot of budgeting things in it. You know, I'm always writing in my notebooks. I want everyone out here to go and get a notebook, right? And then I want you to put in, and I want you to come up with a budget. I want you to write down what you got coming in. If you and your spouse both got a job, what you got coming in from that. And then I want you to write a list of everything that you pay every single month. Okay, everything. Then what I want you to do is write a line down the middle, and I want you to put everything that you need to survive from that list on the left. All right, so you need, you know, a roof over your head. You need electricity. You need running water. You need internet, right? You do need internet, you know, to do some certain things like that. You probably need a cell phone service. But do you really need Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max, Cinemax, all these little one-off, the Hallmark channel, $4.99 here, $5.99 here, $6.99 there, $12.99 there? Do you really need all that on top of a cable bill? Do you really need, you know, this high insurance package, right, for your car? You know, start looking at those things and finding out what you can eliminate. And then the next thing that I want you to do is I want you to write down 5 to 10 things that you are good at or that people come to you for, okay? And then what I want you to do is once you write down those 5 to 10 things, I want you to number them from 1 to 2. And just once you get all the 1s and 2s, take all the 1s, write another list of the 1s, number those from 1 to 2. 1 being the one that you're very confident in, 2 being one that you're somewhat confident in or you may not like. And I want you to keep doing that till you get to one thing. Once you get to one thing, I want you to circle it, and I want you to focus for the rest of the year on building content and things around that one thing. I want you to create an Instagram page and start teaching the people that one thing and building your own personal economy. That's what I want to see the people do.
Boom. Just like that. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't heard of George Pitts, man, check him out. Definitely follow him on Instagram. Check out his website, MrGeorgePitts.com. And follow this brother, man. I'm telling you, it's so much valuable content. And the book, too. We got to have you back on to talk about the book, your book called The Joseph Economy. But, yeah, we definitely appreciate you being on the show, brother. And, you know, League of Hustlers, you heard that challenge, all right? Track what's going out, look at what's going out, look at what's critical, right? And then explore some things, right, that you can monetize everything. But before we go, I want you to talk about your book really, really quickly, The Joseph Economy.
Yeah, that book is near and dear to me, man. That was my first book
Okay.
that I wrote, man. That I printed and everything, and I wrote that book based on Joseph in Genesis. You know, we all know the story. He was, you know, thrown into the pit, kind of left for dead by his brothers, and you know, picked up, got to Egypt, became second in charge, and allowed, you know, Egypt to get through a famine, you know, and you know, I just wrote that book on his principles about building your own economy. You know, at that time, Egypt was the most, you know, was a booming economy because of him. And even during the time of famine, or like what we would call today a recession, everyone from all over the world was coming to Egypt to get all their supplies because Egypt had an abundance of it. And it was because of the things that he did to prepare for that. So it's really showing people how they can, you know, build that abundance for themselves. So in times like the COVID and you know, lockdowns and any other things that might happen, layoffs, you're still an operating and thriving, you know, economy, so to speak. And you know, it's just basically teaching people how to build their own economy. It talks about, you know, affiliate marketing, how to make money online, how to make money in you know, different things, and we touch on credit, we touch on you know, budgeting, we touch on so many different things there to really get people in the mindset of creating their own economy, and that's what the book dances around.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, we definitely appreciate you, brother, and we most certainly got to have you back on the show, man. You know, because you have way too much knowledge, you know, not to share it, and you know, for us not to keep spreading these messages about, you know, being financially free and monetizing everything. But again, salute, man. Hats off to you. Appreciate you. Yeah, man. So there you have it, League of Hustlers. Where can they find you at? You have any particular place if anyone wants to reach
you? Find me
you?
on all platforms at Mr. George Pitts, and also my website, mrgeorgepitts.com. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, Periscope, soon to be YouTube, and you can also catch my podcast, the Monetize Everything podcast. It's on all streaming platforms, Spotify, you know, Apple, Stitcher, you name it, it's there. And we're going to be doing an upcoming new season. We're recording that season now, and we'll be having a lot of new content coming out very, very soon. So make sure you guys stay connected, because there's a lot of information about to come. There's going to be a gemstone in 2021.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. There you have it, folks. Mr. George Pitts. It's only one thing left for you to do. You already know. Go get it.